Have you ever started up a game of Civilization but then realized you really didn't want to spend the next 8 hours of your day playing it? Insert Hexarchy, a 4X meets deck management meets hex-based board game from Main Tank Software and published by Yogscast Games, where they took all of the strategy from 4X games and smash it into an hour of action. I want to thank Main Tank Software and Yogscast Games for sponsoring me to play this game and make this video for you, as I've already put in a few hundred hours into this game, and I am based China and organized labor pilled beyond belief. I'm going to break down this video into a few different sections, so if you wanted to skip around, you can find the timestamps here. This is a truly score-based game that feels incredibly satisfying, which is kind of hard to achieve, especially considering there are specific games that are specifically made for score victory in the 4X genre that fail to achieve that. So the fact that this one is actually pretty satisfying when it comes around to it makes it a little special. We'll get into how to win the score victory as we get into the game, but I'm going to go ahead and start a game. There are multiple different game modes, but I'm just going to play skirmish. That is the normal, just jump into a game. We're going to play as China. I will get into their abilities as we go into the game as well. And I'm going to leave everything as default. Now, for the map types, you can change a lot of different things. You can change the size, how long the game is. Normal is 30 turns. Player spacing, if they're close or far away from other AI. The AI difficulty, as well as the aggressiveness. You could choose to keep the fog of war on or off. You can choose to have 3 hexes in between settling cities, as well as always mobilize units. So if you place down a unit card, it can instantly be playable. But I'm going to leave everything as default while we jump into this game. All right. Inconceivable. Okay. So starting off, you'll see that we get some cards from our deck. Like other card management games, you start off and you get to see what cards you can play instantly. Now, the first one, in order to play anything else, you have to found your capital city. So that is the first card that we get. But what else that we get is we get organized labor, draw 3 cards, charge, makes this unit automatically attack after moving, a scout, as well as extra strength. Now, China is a little lucky is that they get extra production from mines, workshop, forges, lumber mills, and warehouses. And shuffling cost is reduced to 1 gold. We'll get into those mechanics here. But first, let's go ahead and settle. So settling works just like other 4X games. With this, you take your card and you choose what hex you want to settle on. You can settle on any of the immediate areas within, I believe it's 3 tiles of the center location. 2 tiles, it looks like here. 2 tiles of the center location where you quote unquote technically started. This tile right here is our starting location. So just like other 4X games, you want to take into account where you want to settle. The resources, the production, the food. There are, as in other strategy games, kind of the same icons that you'll get used to see, or that you may be familiar with here. You have your food icons, how much food is on that tile. Your gold icon, how much gold that you'll get from that tile. So this one obviously has 2 food. This one has 1 food and 2 gold. This is a luxury resource of wool. So this comes with 1 food and 2 gold. This is a hill that has the hammer, aka production. This one is a hill that has stone, which is a strategic resource that comes with 2 production. So if you're familiar with a strategy 4X game, these icons should look very familiar to you, and they work the same way as they do in previous 4X games, except that they are more resources instead of just modifiers, I guess, in the background. Now, I'm going to settle here. It is recommending me to settle in one of these 2 locations. I'm going to settle right here, even though it only gives me 1 food, because we have some really good resources nearby. We have stone, we have silver, which is a luxury resource, and we have iron, which is a strategic resource, which is needed to build some units in the future. We also have horses nearby, which, as you can see here, there's a horse icon on this card. And I guess that can segue me into how cards work. So in order to spend a card, you need, as I hover over the organized labor here, production. This card costs 1 hammer. You'll notice that we have hammers over here. They are, this, as it states, the civilization's production. That's because we have 4 hammers in our civilization. We have 2 from this tile and 2 from this tile. In order to play the card, we have to have the specific amount of hammers. This is China's ability, they get a card called Organized Labor. It is specific to China. Each civ has their own unique cards, which usually includes one unit and one playable card, whether it is a building or a infrastructure or a action. So for example, China gets an action, they get Organized Labor, and they also get a special unit called the Chukunu. I'm going to go ahead and play this card because it draws 3 cards for the cost of 1 production. And we got 3 extra cards. Now, if you look over onto the left-hand side of the screen, this is your discard pile, and this is the cards that are currently in your deck at the beginning of each turn. You can actually choose to draw additional cards from your cards that are in your hand by pressing Z or clicking this button over here. They cost 2 gold per draw. You can also shuffle your discard pile back into your deck. So this is your discard pile over here. This is the cards that were discarded from you drawing. You can only, you draw a specific amount of cards, then you discard them. There's also another little icon over here. This is just showing you that you have 3 hammers left. If you wanted to end your turn, you can click this button, end turn, but it'll also tell you, hey, you have 3 hammers remaining. Do you really want to end it? And as you can see, there's also a little trash can icon over here. This is your burn pile. Now, as the game goes on, you're going to be getting an insane amount of cards in your hand. Sometimes you can have up to 30 cards in your hand, and that is too many because, say you're late into the game, you don't really need to be using scouts anymore. If you draw a scout, you don't need it. So what you can do is burn the card. The burned card the first card that you burn in that turn burns for 2 hammers and 1 science. I'm not going to burn the scout because I need it, but we can burn this firewood. We got this from drawing a card, or from using Organized Labor, and burning this firewood you can't use it anything else except for burning, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Gain 2 extra production and 1 science from that. And since we just got 1 science from that, I can move into talking about the resources part of the game. Now, just like any other 4X game, you have resources. You have your food, your gold, your strategic, your luxury resources, as well as science. Science is a resource in this game as well. And science is used in tandem with other resources as currency to use cards. Now going into the resources as well as into cards and how they segue into each other, some cards cost only hammers, such as the strength or the scout, whereas some cards cost either hammers or a resource that you have. The tech cards in the game, so woodworking, writing, technology cards that unlock cards later on, they will always cost production, or you can unlock them with science. For example, writing costs 2 production or 1 science, since we just burned that firewood card. Now you'll notice if I went to go burn another card after that, I'm only getting 1 hammer for that, and that is because, as stated before, the first card that you burn gives you 2 hammers and 1 science. Since I have 1 science, I can go ahead and elect to use that instead of using my hammers to unlock writing. Writing is going to give us, now each technology card, if I hover over here, says cards added, construction, lumber mill, and archer. Each technology card unlocks further technology and contains cards within them. So, for example, writing, which is what I'm wanting to unlock right now. Writing here unlocks mysticism as well as mathematics and tactics, and contains a card inside of it. All of these technologies contain cards inside of them, which include other technologies, since technologies count as cards. So writing contains the tech mathematics card, the tactics tech card, the mysticism tech card, as well as the library building card. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock that, and you can see them all unfold like this as I pull it out. You can also hover over it. It'll show you there. The same thing with woodworking. Woodworking contains the construction technology card, the lumber mill building / it's an improvement card technically, as well as the archer unit card. I'm going to go ahead and use my science for writing so we can unlock mathematics. And I'm going to use the scout card because I have 5 hammers left. I'm going to use a scout card so I can go scouting. And I'm going to give that scout a modifier card, which is a promotion. So the way that units promote in this game are based off of cards. It's not like clicking a card and being like, oh, I promoted +1 promotion, click the button, and now it's promoted. You can promote units by using cards such as strength. There's also movement cards where you could ignore zone of control. But I'm going to add strength to this scout. Now it has +3 strength. Strength, just like other card-based games, is based off of the unit's health. So I hover over this scout. It has, on the bottom right of the card, you can see there's a sword with a 3 in it. That means I have 3 health / 3. I do 3 damage. You can also see as after I've played that scout that it is currently sleeping. Now, if you remember what I was mentioning in the setup of the game, where you can click a setting that states all units start mobilized, meaning if I played this card, that means I could move with the scout immediately, but the unit spawned this turn, it is not mobilized, I cannot move it. Now I have 2 hammers left. I could either choose to spend those last 2 hammers to unlock woodworking, or I can end the turn, and any leftover hammers that I have in my deck will go straight into gold. Now gold, as I hover over here, is used to pay maintenance, play cards, draw cards, and buy resources. Units require maintenance. It's not showing any maintenance right now because I don't have any maintenance that is needed. But if you click on this button, it would show maintenance routes as well as trade routes. If you hover over this, it would show maintenance routes as well, but we don't have to worry about that at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and use my last 2 hammers to unlock construction. Now, before I end this turn, there's another card action that you can do, aside from drawing extra cards, discarding them, or burning them. You can also save cards for later. Now, we have a little button over here. This is my inventory capacity. I currently can only store 3 things in my inventory. That includes resources as well as cards. But if you have a card and you say, oh, I want to use this card for later, such as construction, I want to guarantee that I have this card on my next draw instead of whatever I have in my disc or my draw pile, you can click over here and save for next turn. And now you can see I have 1 out of 3 in my inventory. I'll do the same thing for charge. Charge is a ability card that makes this unit automatically attack after moving. It only lasts for that specific turn. I'm going to save that for later too. Now construction, do I want to save this card? I do. I want to save all 3 of those cards. And now we can end the turn. So our city grew, as well as we got new cards: mining, warrior, mathematics, charge, and construction. We got these 3 because we saved them into my inventory pile. Just like other 4X games, we have goodie huts. And hey, I have a scout that can reach a goodie hut. What is it going to give me? We got free resources. Now you can get free units. You can get free resources. So we got some gold as well as some food. You can even get free settlers. Unfortunately, we did not get a free settler this time. That's okay. But we got free resources and we got a bunch of food. Now, as you can see here, when it comes to the inventory, excess resources will be put up for sale. That means if I ended this turn right now and I have excess food in here that would not go into the city, I would sell them on the market. So before we get into playing more cards, we can also talk about another aspect of this game, the market. The only thing that's on the market is food, that is fruit. We have not met another civ yet. There are 2 ways to buy or trade things on the market. There is trading with other AI based off of the excess resources that they have, or trading with basically an NPC that just exists in the ether, in the realm that you can't see them. We could buy some food from them for 2 gold. The total cost is 2 gold. The amount to the seller is 2 gold. There's no transportation cost. The cost of resources in the market are based off of a couple things. They are based off of how much it is based off of the amount that's going to be going to the player, as well as the distance it travels in between cities that it's sold from. Now, there's no other AI right now that we can trade from, so we don't have that cost, but you'll see that sometimes this fruit would cost 4 gold, and that's because maybe there's a city way over here, and that's where we're trading from, and it's the distance that it costs. Now, we got another technology card. I did say I was saving mathematics and construction, but I'm going to go ahead and burn my charge card. I would like to use this. Actually, no, before I do that, I have 8 gold. I'm going to draw some cards from my deck and see if there are any that are worth burning. So I actually ended up getting another settler. Now, I don't have to use my production for this settler. I have extra food over here from getting that tribal village, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that. Just like in most 4X games, using a settler requires you to kill a population of your city. In this game, the same thing happens with units that are not scouts as well. In order to build a warrior, I have to build on a city with at least 2 population, or if that city has a barracks in it. But we can go ahead and save this warrior for later, because I would like to have a unit on the field that can attack. And because I do want to save some cards, I'm going to spend the rest of this food on my capital. Now, that is another mechanic that you can use when it comes to resources, is that you can click on them and immediately use the extra resource on a city. So I used it on my capital, as you saw there, and that caused my city to grow. You could do the same thing with luxury resources, as cities also have happiness. And I'm also going to use the mining tech card to unlock masonry, and then use the masonry card immediately to unlock metalworking, because metalworking has some very high-tech units in it. It has swordsman, spearmen. It also has the feudalism tech and the engineering tech. And I want to save this card because I want to play it on the next turn. And we can go ahead and end our turn and put the rest of those back into my discard pile. So you may have noticed, but when it comes to movement, unlike other 4X games where you could say, click here, move here, where you have movement points, where you click here, move here, and then click here, move here, and then click until your movement points are spent, you have a range that your units can move in based off of terrain, such as if there's forest in the way, or if you're climbing over a mountain or a hill. Where you click is where you move. So instead, I can move all the way over here with the scout, or if, for example, I could even move all the way over here with this scout through the fog of war. But if I clicked right here, that ends the movement of my scout, and I can no longer move to where I wanted to originally. So you do need to be a little careful with movement, because otherwise stuff like this can happen. I have definitely done that a few times where, say there was a tribal village over here and I didn't know what was going on. I would click right here and be like, okay, I can just move right here in that same turn, and that is not correct. You have to be able to move there. You can't just click, 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 click until you run out of movement points. Now I have 4 production left. I'm going to use metalworking right now because of the swordsman, spearman, jeweler, and as well as getting our unique unit, the Chokunu. Now I'm getting a swordsman card because I want to hold on to this card for later, because it is a very powerful early game unit. And it also costs either 5 production or 1 iron. Now, I don't have a mine yet, but as you saw earlier, I do have iron here. So we could use that later. And I'm also going to save the settler card because I want to found another city. Now, our settler just finished. Well, it's not just finished. It can move because we built it on the last turn. So I am actually going to move it up here next to this luxury resource of the whale. And we can just hit next turn. Let's go ahead and move our... Actually, let's go ahead and settle with our settler. And then a unique action that you can do with some units, such as the scout, I believe archers can do it as well, is instead of just moving around and scouting for things, you can actually harvest the resources from the hex that you're standing on. So I'll do that on the next turn, but because I want to harvest this niter here, or this iron here. And let's go ahead and get down another settler as well. As you're noticing, this game can be, it's not, I wouldn't say easy. It's pretty straightforward, but you can tell that there is also some complicated things in regards to deck management in this game. And keeping specific items for later, keeping specific text for later, things along those lines. So what I'm going to do is now show off the ability of harvest, gather resources, gold, and food from this hex. I want one specific thing from this from this hex here, and that is the iron. And if I harvest, I gain iron from here. So we gain 2 luxury from this silver. We gain some gold from this tile. We also gain the iron as well. Now, the only thing about using that is it does cost hammers. It does cost 1 production in order to do that. But that's okay, because the main thing that I wanted from harvesting the iron is to play the swordsman. The swordsman requires either 5 hammers or it requires only 1 iron. And because we harvested 1 iron without having to place a mine down, we can play the swordsman. That is a nice little strategy that you can use instead of waiting until you have the specific building or you have the tech and you have, or having the extra hammers. Some units, such as this swordsman, only require iron to build, instead of just the hammers. The same thing, for example, here is a jeweler. The jeweler doesn't require any production, but it requires 2 iron or 2 marble. And if you have either of those things, you can build it. And, you know, say you don't, like I said, in this instance, I don't have a mine on here, but I could use a scout to harvest, to gather those resources and build it from there. I do have 3 hammers left, so let's use strength. Let's make our swordsman pretty strong, and then I'm going to use animal husbandry tech to unlock pastures, because I do have some pastures that need to be made. And I'm going to save this one too. If I wanted to, I could use these luxury resources right now, but I'm going to set them through and like get them. They're going to be used on the next turn, the turn rollover, as you'll see here. You might be wondering, okay, this is cool and all, Boes, but how do you actually win the game? Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because with mathematics, I am unlocking the Chichen Itza wonder. In order to win this game, there are, well, I guess there's one way. It's through the score victory, and it's through points. Now, the score victory, or the game ends when a player reaches 100 points, or turn 30 is reached. You can see I have 16 points right now on the top left. We're on turn 6. There are multiple ways to get points. You get 1 point for each population. As you can see here, I have 5 population total on the map, so I have 5 points from that. You get 1 point for each military unit. I only have a swordsman, but I have a swordsman on the map, so I'm getting 1 point from that. Scouts don't count towards military units. You get 1 point for every 2 hexes that I control, and then it's rounded down. So I have 21 hexes divided by 2, and it's rounded down, so it would be 10.5, but it is 10 points from that. You also get points for wonders that are specified on the card. Now, I'd mentioned that because we drew the Chichen Itza card, which Chichen Itza's abilities removes maintenance cost from all cities within 3 hexes of where you place it. It produces 1 gold, 1 happiness, 1 culture, and 4 victory points. So this specific wonder gives 4 victory points. You also get 5 points for each holy site in your territory. Now, I don't see any holy sites on the map right now, but once I find one, I will show you what it looks like. 2 points for any enemy cities you pillage. So if you take over a city and you pillage it, you get 2 points. And you also can get extra points during the game for any extra happiness that you have. So, for example, here, I have an extra luxury. If my city is fully happy and I use if I have extra luxury resources, I can force feed it to a city. And this city here has 50% chance to get a victory point. So let's force feed it a luxury resource. Hey! Oh, no, I didn't get it. I got extra culture and extra luxury, but I did not get a victory point from that. So that is the breakdown on how you actually win the game by collecting those types of points. I have 16 because of that. And the points don't get counted until the rollover of the turn. So let's say I had 100 points right now, and then the turn happens, and I only have enough points to get like 102 points at the rollover, but another AI gets more than that, they will win. It's an interesting, it makes the end game a lot of fun. Now I'm gonna hold on to these cards because I want them, and we're gonna end our turn. There are times where it's very smart to hold cards. There's also times where it's better to just let them stay in your discard pile. Let's go say hi to our first civ. Is that Persia? It is Persia, and you can tell because they have a little border right here. I got kind of lucky with this start. I have mountains all the way down my entire side of where I am, so it's kind of hard for the AI to get to me. Let's draw some cards. So this is a good example of what I had meant earlier of having too many cards in my deck. I don't really need another scout, so I'm going to burn this card. It's going to give me production in science. And with that, I'm going to use my 1 science that I have here to go ahead and use construction. And construction is going to give me engineering. Now, I'm not going to use engineering right now, but engineering is going to give me crossbows, as well as the Notre Dame wonder, gunpowder, which is going to give us musketmen later on, as well as the military engineer. We can put that back into our deck. It's not the end of the world. We don't necessarily need it right now. But I am, however, going to use this mine because we want iron and we want luxury resources. The iron is going to come handy quite a bit. Now, I'm going to hold on to this road too because, as mentioned, things do require maintenance, and units take at least one maintenance minimum in the beginning of the game, and it gets more expensive to maintain that unit as they move further away from your empire. We'll hold on to that for later, and I'm going to hold on to this as well because I want to build a settler on the next turn. Persia is currently winning. It's not telling us, it doesn't tell us how much they're winning by, but at the moment they are currently winning, probably because they built a wonder or they have more tiles than I do. Okay, there's a city, and they have a holy site, so that's another reason why. Oh, I accidentally pressed the draw button. I didn't mean to, so they wasted a little bit of gold there, but that's okay. I am going to use my settler card, as I had mentioned. We don't need warriors really anymore because we're already starting to get higher tech units, so we can burn that. And we'll use that extra science on mysticism. And the reason why is I want to use the temple. It gives us culture as well as happiness per holy site. I don't have any holy sites, but I plan on it. I plan on this one right here. But another reason why I did that is because the temple only costs 1 marble instead of 4 hammers. I don't have any marble on me, but hey, what's this icon over here? Oh, marble, and it only costs 1 gold from the merchant that's just on the map. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that from them. Now we have 1 marble in our inventory. Our temple now only costs 1 marble, and we can use that. I am, however, gonna I was not gonna build a road initially, but I do want to not have to worry about maintenance since I'm building this axeman as well. Since this axeman also only costs, or spearman only costs 1 stone. And we'll hold on to those 2 units. Let's. I'm actually gonna shuffle these cards again. I am gonna have to look. See, now I have 31 cards in my deck. I'm gonna have to start burning some cards that don't really matter. One thing that took me a bit to get used to in this game is burning cards. And the reason why I say that is because the game only lasts 30 turns on standard speed. That means I have 21 turns left in this game. And you'll be thinking, okay, that's not a lot of time, and you have a lot of cards. And that's right. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, I might need this card later. You're not going to need it later. Trust me when I say that. I'm actually going to burn that fort because I don't really need that fort there either. What I am going to do, however, is use all of my hammers and 5 gold here to build the pyramids. Automatically collects land special resources within 2 hexes. And I'm going to put it right... Oh, I can't build it right there because it's not in my empire. That's actually... that would have been the perfect spot. I would have grabbed this resource over here too. Well, I can put it right here then. That's going to grab this, and this on the turn rollover. And I have +1 science, so I can also unlock education. Let's go settle over here next to the marble and the horses. And this scout doesn't need to really worry about zone of control, so I'm just going to go scouting. Ah! That guy's scary. Now, you just saw some battles happening there. That's the first battles that's happened in this game for me. And we can talk about that. Let's go ahead and settle. There are a couple things in regards to the battle system in this game. I really don't need a catapult, so I'm going to burn it. I'm going to draw a couple more cards here to see if we can... Because I have an excessive amount of gold. I am going to save the Temple of Diana. I'm going to draw another swordsman. Now, the problem, as you can see here, is that we are starting to build very expensive things, and our cities are unable to to support them. But that's okay. We'll worry about that later. I'm going to hold on to these cards here. Now, I'm going to start moving in on Persepolis. Now, I can't attack because attacks cause actions for... oh, he has 2 holy sites. He has one right here, too. And moving costs an action, so I have to wait until next turn to attack, unless he moves his scout away, which he might. Nope, he's just going to attack. Okay. It is what it is. Now, the reason why I've been holding on to this charge card is... Well, it's a very specific reason. But let me go ahead and attack the scout. Now, you'll notice that the scout also attacked me. Anytime you attack with a unit that isn't ranged. Now, that scout had a ranged attack on it because of a card modifier. That you will automatically get a counter attack back. But what I'm going to do, and the reason why I've been holding onto this charge card, is I'm going to apply it to my swordsman here. Whoops. If I can hover it. Charging makes this unit automatically attack after moving. It lasts 1 turn and can trigger twice. I'm going to apply it to my swordsman. Now my swordsman has the charge ability, and you'll notice that I can't straight on attack Persepolis because that's not how the game works. You can't just move onto the city. I'd have to stand next to it, and then I'd have to attack it on the next turn. But with the charge ability, I can move next to the city. This will trigger charge because there's a unit in there. I will attack it automatically, and whenever you attack a unit and kill it, you move onto the tile that you killed it on. And now I've moved into Persepolis, and I can take it on the next turn. I don't need this archer anymore because I have Chokanus, and because they're kind of weak at this point, so I'm going to burn this for production and hammers, as well as getting rid of extra cards that we need. We have the lumber mill. Immediately get 1 firewood when built. It adds 2 production to the map. And we get the firewood card, which is only used for burning, so now we have 4 extra hammers. And let's draw some cards here. Look at that. Because we have 3 science, I'm going to use engineering. And we're going to use engineering to unlock gunpowder. Gunpowder is an incredibly powerful tech. I also am going to use this settler card because I have 4 hammers left. And now we're just going to save all of these cards. Now you notice that our inventory is at capacity. You can expand your inventory. There is a card called the warehouse that allows you to do that. But I just have extra iron. I don't need it. I'm going to sell it on the market and gain some gold back and end the turn. Oh, England built Hanging Gardens. They've built 2 wonders now. I think they're winning. Yeah, as you can see, they are currently winning. It's probably because of the wonders that they've built. But we're going to catch up pretty quickly. Now, when you are on top of a city, when you have entered the city, you have a couple different options. You can, well, this is just fortifying, but you can either raise the city, in which you gain the gold and victory points from it. You get 2 victory points. Or you can capture the city, claim the territory. And I'm going to capture this city because of a couple things. There's a fort here, but there are 2 holy sites in this city. And if you remember correctly what I had mentioned earlier, you get 5 points for each holy site when it comes to winning victory points. And now it is already updated. Holy sites. I have 10 victory points from controlling 2 holy sites. That shows you how quickly this game can change just doing a couple different actions. And also because I have some extra stone and a couple hammers, instead of costing the large amount of hammers, I can just choose to use the stone instead. And I'm going to build Chichen Itza. I had meant to build it before. And Chichen Itza it removes the maintenance cost for all cities within 3 hexes. Where should I build it that's going to hit the most amount of cities? Probably right here, right? Because it hits this city here. It hits this city and this city. And I could build it here or here. And the nice thing about it too is that it gives you a little hover of where you don't have to like guess about it. You can just click or hover over the area you want to build it, and it shows you where it'll reach. So let's do it right here. It hits these 3 cities, makes them maintenance free, gives me victory points. And what I could do still is, because I have the extra hammers, I didn't have to use excess hammers to build this. I could also build Temple of Diana. Reduces culture required for border growth in all cities. That's one thing I didn't really mention is culture. Culture is required to grow your borders. Culture, it's gained from buildings, from wonders. And in order to grow to specific borders, you need to have a specific amount of culture stored in a city. If you click on this button over here, it shows you the overlay. So in order to grow to this border right here, I need to have 4 culture. This only has 1 stored. This has 1 stored. But so when it grows up to 4, it'll go to one of these. And it starts with the cheapest one. I don't know. I think it's the way that it works is it's based off of resources, as well as there's probably an attractive rating to whatever's closest, right? So for example, these cost the same. They're both 4 and they're only 2 tiles away. I'm assuming that it's going to go based off of whichever is more attractive. I don't know. They've never stated that. There's nothing in the wiki that states that. It also might just be random, it might just do a random number generator between whichever one's more attractive. So don't quote me on that. That's just what I'm assuming. But we're going to place Temple of Diana because, as stated, this is going to give us extra culture and cause the amount of culture needed for borders to grow to lessen. And I'm going to burn this card. We don't really need it. But we are going to save gunpowder, and we can use that extra science for architecture. And with that, I'm actually going to go into Colosseum and save that for the next turn too. I need some roads, because we're going to start having some maintenance issues here pretty soon. And let's go settle over here. Why not? I probably should have bought food, because now the city's in a famine, but that's okay. Oh no, what happened? Persia did not stand the test of time. I knocked Persia out of the game because he only had one city, and he did have some settlers running around, but I took his city before he could settle again. Sorry, buddy. Big sorry. So let's use Colosseum on my capital. We have a pasture card. I do need some extra resources here. We have one horse. Okay, cool. Wow, this is a great start. How is the AI supposed to get to me? Is this cut off all the way? If this is actually cut off all the way, that's going to be kind of crazy. We could burn this. We don't really need it. Here's what I'd mentioned earlier. Here's a building, the warehouse. +1 build per turn in the city, so you get extra hammers in that city. +2 resource storage capacity, so we can go ahead and bump our resource storage up to 10 now. Let's use the jeweler. Produces 1 gold as well as 1 luxury resource. What I am going to do, though, is because we have a lot of extra resources. I have 3 science here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy... This costs 4 science to use gunpowder. I'm going to buy this extra science here from... Well, Persia no longer exists. I'm going to use that to unlock gunpowder, which gives us the musketmen, an insanely powerful military unit, 35 combat strength. And we're going to save him to later and end our turn. Actually, I'm going to use some extra gold here. I was hoping we can get roads, but let's use this extra strength. I guess on the swordsman, why not? Let's shuffle our deck to see if we can get maybe roads within the next few turns, because we are going to start struggling with maintenance pretty soon. We're only getting 8 gold per turn. Oh, there we go. That's a good example. So we had a lot of excess luxury resources, and they were put into Beijing, and we got victory points from that. We got 2 of them, actually. Are we currently winning? So now we're currently winning. I'm going to burn this card because we don't really need it anymore. We can use this mine. What should we use it on? Let's use this mine on this luxury resource. We use this lumber mill on the woods over here so we can get another firewood card. We can burn that. So now we have 13 hammers. But I have some excess gold, so I'm going to use those to draw a couple extra cards. Play the organized labor card to draw 3 more cards. Use the jeweler with our excess iron that we have. Place that into Beijing. I don't think I'm ever going to need to use the cannon, so we can just burn that for now. With all this extra gold, draw a few more cards again. Let's use Colosseum. It only costs 2 stone to build instead of the 5 hammers. So let's throw Colosseum into... What's our lowest happy city? Persepolis? Okay, so let's throw that into here. Now, there are some government cards as well. I didn't really get into that. The governments aren't... They're kind of important, but not as important as the techs, I would say. But this one is the Government Civic of God King, and it gives you either the choice to use Divine Favor, which gives you +3 strength on a unit and no maintenance for 3 turns, or Divine Decree, +1 gold and happiness produced by the Palace. I'm going to use Divine Favor here. We're going to hold on to that card. I'm also going to build a musketman, burn the swordsman, and hey, look at that. We got a sick promotion card, Military Engineer. So I'd mentioned that some of the promotions were strength, which is what we used on this swordsman. There's also another one called Military Engineer. The unit will automatically build a road along its movement path, and I'm going to use that on my musketman. And let's go ahead and end our turn. So turn 15, we're at 79 victory points. We got an extra victory point because of our excess luxury. We have 12 excess luxury resources. Our cities are very happy. Now that the turn rolled over, we're on turn 83. Oh, we can. I'm on the way, England. This is a really nice promotion to have with the musketmen. As you can see here, these are starting to get more expensive. This swordsman now costs 2 gold per turn because of it's getting further away from my capital, as well as this spearman. But because of the promotion on this musketman of Military Engineer, it's going to automatically build roads wherever I move. And now we don't have to worry about roads in the middle of the game. Let's build this building, the granary. Immediately adds 1 population to the city and will keep half of its stored food when it grows. There you go, Beijing. Divine Favor. I'm going to use this on the swordsman. So now it doesn't require any maintenance for 3 turns. It's not going to update till the next turn. We have a library card, produces science and culture. We have some extra stone, so I might as well just use it. +1 hammer for some strength. Let's add that to our swordsman right here. Now you can see where the deck management as well as resource management starts to come into play, because we have 13 gold. We're getting 10 gold per turn. We don't have to worry too much about our maintenance fees because we're starting to build roads this way. We don't really need the Chukunu. And now we can start maybe drawing some extra cards from our deck, in which case we drew the Great Wall, increases the movement cost of enemy units when entering your territory. We also have Notre Dame, produces 2 happiness in all cities, gives us 5 culture and 4 victory points. I'm just going to build that, because why not? And I have a charge card. England wants to build a settler over here, so let's go ahead and use this unit still has some movement points, so let's use it on the spearmen. And if you remember, charge cards allows you to attack twice in 1 turn if you move and attack. So we're going to charge, attack the settler, kill it, move to that tile, charge, attack the warrior, that's rare, and now we move to that tile. This game is so much fun. I can't get over it. Are we going to win on this turn? Maybe. We have a lot of victory points. It's either this turn or the next turn that we're going to win on. Let's see, what does the victory points get calculated to on this turn? 96. So unless England does some absolutely insane bonkers things, yeah, game will end soon. We're going to win on the next turn based off of like the hexes and the amount of border growth that we're going to get, the wonders that we have. Oh, our unit died? That's messed up. Sure. Here's a ability. We don't care about zone of control. Do I have any charge cards? Tactics? I think this has charge in it. Yeah. So you can see that by balancing your resources, balancing your card management, you can go through the tech tree to get very specific cards and guarantee to get a card for things that you want to do. So for example, this swordsman, I gave the promotion. Oh, I can't actually give him charge because he has too many promotions, huh? Oh, no. Okay. I want him to go and attack this city, but I can't do that on this turn because if I just move here, he stays there. But Tactics has the card charge in it. I want to apply the charge to this heavily promoted swordsman. And now, because I have ignoring enemy zone of control, I can move next to the city, automatically attack the city, move in, charge, and the city will be mine on that next turn. This game can get very silly very fast, as you can see. Sure, let's just use secularism. Combat medicine university produces 3 happiness, culture, and science. Sure, let's use a university. Why not? Add a harbor to this building. It doesn't really matter what we're doing right now because we're literally going to win on this next turn. And let's go ahead and end the turn. We should win after the rollover. What are you going to do, England? What are you going to do? You going to attack me? Hey, look at that. Final score, 107. England was at 77, and poor Persia at 6. We got first place. This was a small map. I kept everything on defaults. I generally play with a large map with more civs in the game and the difficulty up a little bit harder. As you can see, because of the default difficulty and how much I've played this game, I was able to snowball the AI pretty hard. But there are, as stated before, multiple game modes in this game. Not only is there skirmish, which is what we were just playing, but you can also play multiplayer. You can play online, where you can find a game versus random opponents, like matchmaking. I'm going to cancel that because I don't want to do that right now. You can create a game with custom settings and then have people join it. You can also join a custom game where you create a game using a code and invite your friends. So if you wanted to play multiplayer with your friends, you can. Especially in multiplayer, this is your preferred civilization, but obviously, you know, if you're finding a game versus random opponents and you wanted to play China, you're not guaranteed to play them, but you can There are also some other single-player games. So, Hegemon, which is choose a civilization and contribute to its global domination. So this is a weekly thing, global power, where let's say you are a China main or you are a France or Russia main. You choose that civ for the week, and then you keep playing the campaign to gain score and try to get that civ to be the best in that week. As you can see here, some people are contributing a lot to Russia right now. There are also daily challenges. This one is these challenges are my favorite things. If you know me from what I usually do, I love doing challenge type things. And for every single day, there's a new type of challenge that comes out, and you compete with the leaderboards. No one has, at least from what I've seen here, I can't see the scores because I haven't completed the challenge, but the challenge is to build 2 wonders as fast as possible. There's also a weekly challenge, which is there are 3 different levels for the Aztecs. There's 3 challenges that happen back to back to back. So one of them is probably like control 20 hex tiles as fast as possible, build 3 cities as fast as possible, and to get to like 70 victory points as fast as possible. And then there's also the campaign to learn how to play the game. But I can show you a daily challenge really quickly. Build 2 wonders as fast as possible. Let's do it. And the challenges are a really good way to learn how to use deck management very, very efficiently. I thought I was pretty good at the game, and then I started getting into the challenges, and then I realized, I don't know how to manage cards, burn cards, put cards away, save them for later, until I started doing challenges. So this one is the challenge: build 2 wonders as fast as possible. We are playing as Egypt, and Egypt, which I accidentally skipped here, what their abilities do, but their abilities are wonder based. So Egypt has the ability, the Gift of the Nile, which is this card right here. You get 1 to 2 food and increase food yield on the target hex by up to 1. So you get extra food on the tile. You also get the Horse Archer, which is a archer that starts the ability Vanguard. But the main thing about Egypt and why we're doing this objective is Egypt does not have to pay any gold for building any wonders. And if you remember, the Great Wall costs 10 hammers and 4 gold. If I was trying to build it with Egypt, it would only cost 10 hammers, or 10 hammers and 3 stone. In these challenges, like building 2 wonders as fast as possible, it's really useful to know tech and where wonders are. In this instance, I'm probably going to want to get to Temple of Diana as fast as possible, so I want to unlock writing so I can get to mysticism. I guess in animal husbandry, I could get to Hanging Gardens ASAP, and with woodworking, I guess I would get down to the Great Wall, but that costs a lot of hammers, so we don't really care too much about that. Where am I going to settle? So let's settle right here. Burn the firewood. We get 1 science. Use the science for animal husbandry. Use animal husbandry to unlock agriculture. Unlock agriculture to get Hanging Gardens. Save the Hanging Gardens for later. Use Gift of the Nile on my capital, so I get that stuff immediately. Get our capital to pop 2. Use woodworking. I don't know what tile is going to grow next, but we can use woodworking to grab lumber mill and save that to maybe harvest that next turn. So now we got writing. Let's actually burn the scout because we don't care about the scout. Get to mysticism because that's where Temple of Diana is. Actually, Chichen Itza is inside mathematics. Which one costs more? This is 8 hammers or 6 gold. This is 6 hammers and 4 gold. Chichen Itza versus Temple of Diana. So we're going Temple of Diana. Save that to the next turn. We can build Hanging Gardens right now. There's 1 wonder. And end the turn. Now we want to get to mysticism to get to Temple of Diana. I'm going to burn the settler for the extra science. Unlock mysticism for Temple of Diana. Burn the lumber mill for the extra hammer. And now we have Temple of Diana unlocked. And we just built the second wonder. And won the game on the 3rd turn. As you can see, these challenges that they have in the game are a lot of fun because they scratch my speedrunning itch. They also scratch my itch to win as fast as possible. And you get to see where you are on the leader attempts. I am 5th on the leaderboard for first attempts. I got to 4 turns. This person, Mylan, I don't know how they do it. Every single time on the leaderboards, they are always like winning, they're always number 1, winning in 3 turns on first attempts. There are probably a few things I could have done better, like burning cards faster to rush to a specific tech and getting it in the same turn. But these challenges are fun because, like you said, there's a leaderboard, so you can see the leaderboards and compete with other people, but they also teach you deck management very well. So with that, that is Hexarchy. I hope you enjoyed this game. Like I said, I've played this game a ton since I've gotten early access to this. I've put in a couple 100 hours into this game already. This is one of those games where you want to kill time, but you don't want to play an 8-hour 4X game, or maybe you want to play an online board game with your friends, but don't want to, like you said, play one singular game for 7 hours and maybe have that player desync, or there's lag issues. Play Hexarchy. These games last between 15 minutes to an hour. I'd say the longest it's ever taken me is about 40 minutes because I was playing a super long skirmishing game where the map size was huge and there were a lot of players, and so players were winning victory points and then losing victory points and back and forth and back and forth. And I was also playing versus the hardest AI difficulty. If you think that you can just start off on hardest and aggressive and play very well versus the AI, you're going to be wrong and you're going to be humbled very quickly. I still have difficulty playing versus the hardest AI and the hardest aggressiveness because you think, oh, I can go and settle over here, and then you see the AI with 4 swordsmen charging straight at that settler that you are about to settle. So trust me when I say it's not as easy as you think it is. But this is Hexarchy. I love this game. This game is fantastic. It scratches that itch of wanting to play a really quick game for only like 15-20 minutes. If maybe I am editing a video and I just need to take a break and want to play a game for a little bit, I've been throwing up Hexarchy, putting on a YouTube video and playing this for an hour, and then going back into what I'm doing. It's a lot of fun, and it's so easy to just like, oh, I lost this game because the AI destroyed me. Okay, quit, jump back into a skirmish game in 2 minutes. It's been a lot of fun. Once again, I want to thank Main Tank Software as well as Yogscast Games for sponsoring me to play this video. This game is, like I said, it's a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it a ton. Probably way more than I thought I was going to. It's just, I don't know. I'm usually not huge into deck building games. You guys know me. I'm not super into roguelikes, and this one kind of does it really well. There is some RNG factor to it that doesn't make me mad. And it also scratches that city building 4X itch that I love. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys pick this up. You can find the link down in the description below. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.